Outdoors today is a bit cold, so forgive me. We are on Brachas Daf Chof Tes Amud Beis, top of the page. Belangt de Lefuas, Moshe ben Esther. Okay, we're top line. Amar Rabbi Tanchum. Says Rav Tanchum. Said Rav Tanchum. Amar Rav Asi, Amar Rav Yeshia ben Levi. Basically, he says Meimer in the name of Reb Chaim Levi. Whoops, there's my standard that just broke. So, Tav Eloi Hiskishor Chayish Bavayda. Very common mistake we've all made, even though we'll see that for some reason it's considered very embarrassing. Tav Eloi Hiskishor Chayish Bavayda. You didn't say Yalav Yavai, the supplication you're supposed to add on Rosh Chodesh once a month, twice a month.
Maybe some months.
Some months once, some months twice. You didn't say Yalav Yavai in Shemona Esra. So what should you do? Chayzer la'avoda. Go back to the avoda. What's the avoda? Ritzei. Go back to you say ritzei, say ritzei again, then say Yalav Yavai.
It's a funny thing because usually in Shul I'm the one who bangs.
But then you forget. It's a school to forget. It's school to forget is to bang and remind everyone. So what are we talking about? When did you remember? When did you remember? So it's Mavur Ben Yena says, Talmud Rabbeinu say, you remembered before you said Maidim. You said Ritzei. You're about to say Maidim. Now you remember. Oh, I didn't say. You said V'sechazena Neinu, but you didn't say Maidim. L'chayra. Why? Because it says Niska B'Haidah. If you remembered in Haidah after you started Maidim, so what should you do? Chayzer la'avayda. Go back to Ritzei. So the first case is talking about where you didn't say Maidim yet. It's Muchach. Because the second case is where you said Maidim. Niska B'Haidah Chayzer la'avayda. If you remembered when you got to Maidim, go back to Ritzei. So what's the first case talking about? Well, you didn't say Maidim. You said V'sachazena. Then you should do, what should you do? You should go back to Ritzei. Okay, that's how Talmud Rabbeinu Yenelan. In other words, you're supposed to say Ritzei, then Yalav Yavai, then you say V'sachazena and Einu. Brachat Hashem Amachaz Shchenas Elitzin. You make your bracha, Amachaz Shchenas Elitzin. And then before Haidah, you're like, I forgot to say Yalav Yavai. What should you do? Go back to Ritzei, say Ritzei again, Yalav Yavai, V'sachazena again, and keep going. That's how Talmud Rabbeinu Yeina understand this. However, the Rav Yah says, if you didn't say Maidim yet, it's Mavur in other places. If you didn't say Maidim yet, what should you do? Say Yalav Yavai then and there. Don't go back into Ritzei. You don't say V'sachazena and Ein again. You don't go back to Ritzei. Say it right then and there. He brings right from a different gemorahs that till you started Maidim, he's still in the same parsha. He can just. No, it was mine. Since he's in the same parsha, he can, what's it called? You can say right then and there. You don't have to go back to it, say. Wow, what is this drink? Oh, this is zero. Wow. Okay.
It's horrible stuff.
It's really horrible. It's not Coke Zero, it's something else. It's like, whoa. Okay. So, B'Sim Shalom, what happens if he's in the middle of Sim Shalom? What should he do? You guess that Chayzer la'avayda, go back to it, say. If he's finished praying, what should you do? Chayzer la'roish. You go back to the beginning, start Shemona Esra again, go back to the beginning. Start from scratch. All 18 from the beginning. Amar of Papa Bereder of Acha Bar Ada. Hadda Amra, not that it says Siyam Chayzer la'roish. If it says you finish, go back to the beginning. Like Amran Elisha Akar Raglov. When do you have to go back to the beginning? That's if you took your 3 steps back. Then that's called you finish Manasseh. Now you got to go back daven again. You didn't say what say. You didn't say Yalav Yavai. Start again. Avallah Yakar Raglov. If you didn't yet uproot your feet, what should you do? Chayzer la'avayda. Go back to Ritzei. Huh?
Avodah is considered Ritzei?
Yeah. So says this Ravacha Barada, that when is it considered you finish your prayer? If you step back, that's called you're done. Amalei min halacha. Who told you this? That's dependent whether you move back or not. Amalei ma'alba mari shamili. I heard it from Abba Mari. Abba Mari Mirav Amar Nachman bar Yitzchak, and he got it from Rav Amar Yitzchak. That which we said, if you uproot your feet, you go back to the beginning. If you step back, you have to go to the beginning. That's only if you didn't akar raglai. Sorry, that's only if you're not used to saying tachnunim. If you step back, you have to start from the beginning. That's if after you step back, you have a cigarette. But if you step back and then you start saying your personal bakashas, that's not called you finish your davening yet. Because you know you're going to step back and then say a few more personal prayers, right? Aval. If you normally step back and then say some tefillas, which looks like that's a lot of people did, you can still go back to Ritzei. I guess you have to step forward again and do Ritzei. Go back to Ritzei. In other words, it's not called Zman in your head. You know you're still davening. You're still going to say your personal bakashas. Even though you step back, but since now you're going to say whatever it is, you do Eisa Shalom, you step back, but now you're going to ask for Parnasa, you're going to ask for a new car. So now, you go back and do the Alav Yava, you go back to Ritzei. So Ikid da Amri, some say the opposite. Amr of Nachman bar Yitzchak, Hod da Amran ki lo yakar ragel l'chayzel aveda, that we said that if you didn't step back, you can still go back to Ritzei. Lo Amran ela shvagalei betachnunin achat vilosai. That's only if you're used to saying tachnunim now. You're right, you didn't step back. But you finish your Shemona Esra, even if you didn't step back, unless you're used to saying Tachnunim now. Unless you normally say personal bakashas now, after the Shemona Esra, you finish Shemona Esra, even if you didn't step back yet. If you don't normally say Tachnunim after your Shemona Esra, you have to go back to the beginning, meaning even if you didn't step back, if you don't say Tachnunim, you're done. You can't go back to Ritzei. So, take a look in Taisus, the third Taisus from the bottom. It's actually the second Taisus on the page. First Taisus is very big Taisus. Says Taisus, you made a mistake, you didn't do what's it called, you go back to Avodah, you go back to Ritzei. But by Hilchas Gedailis, the Bahag Pirish, Davka Biyachid, when do you go back to Ritzei? That's if you're davening at home, you're by yourself, right? You're at home, you're by yourself, you forgot. Go back to the beginning. If you're davening in shul, you don't have to go back and pray again, because you're going to hear the chazan saying Yalav Yavai. Be with the chazan. Says Taisus, throws in Taisus, miu tzach ledagdik b'achazan kol eis v'eis v'tfila afa pishu baki. If you're going to be Yetzer with the Chazan Shemona Esra, you got to listen to every single word, every letter. Ta'adamina Baruch Hashanah, Kashem Shemaitzias She'eni Baki Kach Maitzi Abaki. Says in Maseches Rosh Hashanah that the Chazans might see the Baki and the Eni Baki. Whether you know how to daven or you don't know how to daven, the Chazan can be mighty. Vavakav Damina and Asam. It says there, like Pater Rabbi Gabriel, Ela Ha'am Shebesades, Shum Da Anusi Yivetridi. You know who the Chazan's for? The Chazan's there to Pater, the people that are Nusim. They can't come to Shul. They're busy, they're working in the fields. They can't make it to Shul for Mincha. They can't make it to Shul. They've got a full-time job. And they're not able to come. Aval Torah. But if someone made a mistake in davening, like, the Chaz is not mighty him. That's what Rabbi Gamliel says. The Chaz is not mighty if you made a mistake. So why you here? Should the Bahag say that the Chaz is mighty for Yalav Yavai? So it says Yesh Loima. Tell you what Pshat is. Hainu Shloi Spala Klal. When did Rabbi Gamliel say the Chazan doesn't help you if you made a mistake? That's if you didn't daven at all. You're in the field. If you didn't daven, you know how to daven, so daven. Avo heicha shespalel kvar. Avo heicha shespalel kvar lo chashvin lekilu lo yispalel klal. But if you daven, but you just made a mistake, that's not called you didn't daven, and therefore the chazan can't be moitzi you. So again, it says Taisus, the principle that the chazan is not moitzi you, that's only if you didn't daven at all. But if you prayed, but you forgot Yalav Yavai, the chazan can't be moitzi you. I say, not just Yalav Yavai, anything you have to do, go back for, the chazan can be moitzi you if you missed it. It's a machlokes Rishonim b'file. Some say no, it's better to daven yourself. You can't, especially if you can't hear the chazan. The chazan skips words, he slurs his words. You can't be yetz with the chazan, so it's better to daven yourself and not be samech on the chazan. Rebbe Kiva Eger comes along and says, "What happens? Interesting case. You're davening Shemona Esra, you realize you didn't say Ritzei. You're in the middle of Moedim. I didn't say Yalav Yavai, right? So what should you do now? The halacha is you go back to Ritzei. That's what the gemorah says, right? You go back to Ritzei. According to this Taisvus, should he wait now for the chazan? Says Rebbe Kiva Eger, he could wait for the chazan. He's after Ritzei.
What's the point of waiting for the chazan?
To be Yitzah listen to the chazan's Ritzei. Since you could be Yitzah with the chazan, instead of me going ahead and davening to the end, and I blew it. The chazan already started. He's about to start Shemona Esrei. He started. So I should just wait the way you are, wait 2 minutes till Chazan gets to Ritzei, and then just listen to the Chazan's Ritzei and be Yetz with him. You don't have to go back and make another bracha of a Torah or make a V'secha Zena. Be Yetz with the Chazan, says Rebbe Kiva Eger. That's what his implication. That's what he wants to say. Take a look at the next slide. It says, Ikad da Amri, Omer of Nachman. So it's a machlokes. Is it talking about where you normally say tachnunim before you step back, or you say tachnunim after you step back? Says Taisus, Rav Alfis Pasak, the Rif Pasak, ki Ikad da Amri. Like the second Lashon. That what?
You don't step back until you say tachnunim.
The berage leima tachnunim v'lo yakaraglav. If you usually say tachnunim before you step back, ein nechayzel roish. You don't go back to the beginning. V'imragel, but if you do say tachnunim, gam ki lo yakaraglav chayzel roish. Even if you didn't step back, you don't go to the beginning. Chayzel roish. So you go back to the beginning. If you don't say tachnunim normally, so if you finish Shemona Esra, according to the second Lashon, but you don't, this is the Chiddush, you don't say tachnunim, you're a regular guy, you do the Shemona Esra, you don't throw in tachnunim afterwards. Even if you didn't step back, too bad, you got to go back to the beginning. You got to go daven again. Unless you say tachnunim, this is what's negated to most people, they don't say their own prayer afterwards. You didn't step back yet, I forgot to say Alav Yaveh. What's it then? Says the Rif, says Taisvus, you got to daven again. You blew it. You don't say Tachnunim. Too bad. If you would say Tachnunim, you're still in Shemona Esra, you can go back to Ritzei. But now you got to go back to the beginning of Shemona Esra. And Achronim ask, I don't know, why be Machmer like the second Lashon? Be Maker like the first Lashon. What's going on here? It's Durabanan.
When do you have to go back to the beginning of Shemona Esra?
If you finish the whole thing,
yeah.
According to the Taisvus, you finish the whole Shemona Esra, you don't say Tachnunim. Even if you didn't step back, you got to go back to the beginning. Too bad. It's not Tali and stepping back, according to the second Lashon. It's Tali and Tachnunim or not. And since you don't say Tachnunim, you're one of the guys that don't say Tachnunim, like me, so you got to go back to the beginning. Too bad.
Yeah.
But why? Why be Machmer on a Darabanan? So what they explain is that, I'll tell you why. What do you want this guy to do? Go back to Ritzei, right? If he goes back to Ritzei, it's not just Darabanan. All the brachas from Ritzei, the last 3 brachas are going to be Levatala. According to the second Shita, the last 3 brachas, if you're supposed to go back to the beginning, those are bracha Levatalas. So we're machma on the bracha Levatala. If you daven the whole thing again from the beginning, that's not Levatala, that's, you're adding in, it's like an adova, right? So it's not Levatala. But if you went back to Ritzei and you weren't supposed to go back to Ritzei, it's bracha Levatala, we're machmer. Some mecheshish, it's the rice even, bracha Levatala. That's why Tais is so machmer on this din. Back to the gemorah. Okay. We have to finish on time because we're freezing cold out here. Says the gemorah.
Maybe next week.
Rebbe Lezer.
I'm serious.
Rebbe Lezer Oima. Okay, you'll discuss it with him. Rebbe Lezer Oima. It's tefillah sekva.
Why are we outside?
There's a share, there's another Kriyas take a share in there, they beat us to it. So,
I was here first.
right? So, Rebbe Lezer Omer, Eishet Tfilah Sekva, I'll discuss it with them.
You're here first every day.
I'll discuss it with them. Rebbe Lezer Omer, Eishet Tfilah Sekva, Ein Tfilah Tachnunim. Someone that makes a tefillah, the Mishnah said, someone who davens kva, his tefillah is not tachnunim. So what does it mean? My kva. So someone who davens kva, his tefillah is not answered. His tefillah doesn't find rachmanas. That's the
What does that mean,
Pashup
kva?
Pshat. Oh, good question. My kva, that's the Gemara's kasha. Baruch Shekivanta. What does kva mean? Amar B'Yaakov, Vayedi, Amar Rabbi Yoshia. What's kva? Kval she'tfilas doimel of kamasoi. It looks like your prayer is a burden. Doesn't mean it looks like to someone else. No one else knows what's going on in your heart. But you know yourself. Is it a burden for you or is it not a burden? If you feel like it's a burden, it's ain't a tachnunim. And according to many Rishonim, we'll see according to most cheaters out there, you got to daven again. You're not Yetzer. You got to daven again. Kol shitlos doilak masay. That's a cheater's ratio. Rabbanan says, Kol mishein no eimer beloshin tachnunim. You don't say a loshin of tachnunim, meaning you're zipping through it. You're not saying it beloshin tachnunim. Please, Rebbeinu Shalom, give me this. Give me that. You just please, Shalom, give me this. Please, that's not how you. That's not loshin tachnunim. So it's a machlekes what it means kva. The Rambam's choishes for both shitas. He said you got to say it b'mesinas. You got to daven slowly, like you're actually talking to someone, not like you're just trying to be yetzer. Right? You're not yetzer. And he says you got to be b'losh and tachnunim with the nigun, with like you're actually asking someone. The Shulchan Aruch says brings the Rambam the Koani Adayfik Bedalas. No one comes to you and says, give me $5. I need to buy a coffee. People say to you, please, I need a coffee. Can you give me $5? That's how people talk when they want something, right? If you're saying, because you're going so fast, you can't add something. You're going so fast, you can't when you're saying something quickly, you can't just interject the word in there, and please also give me this. It's too complicated for you. I could have added something, I could have added, but I was worried that it's going to confuse me. It's going to be Mibabla me. This is the last opinion, what it means, kva. What does it mean you daven kva? You didn't daven when the dumei chama, when the sun's red. Floshna dmimus red or dam blood. So if you don't daven when the sun is red, that's called kva. Rashi explains why. Yerushalmi says, and that's the mashmos of the pasuk. Yeruchem shemesh. The Gemara is going to say, "V'amazera, my cry, Yeruchem shemesh." That's what it means. In other words, when's the Eis Ratzon in Shemayim? When are our tefillahs answered? Dumdumei chama. Nates in the morning, and in Shkia in the evening, when the sun sets, sunrise and sunset, it's red. That's Eis Ratzon. Both Shachas and Mincha. That's Eis. We're not talking about Ma'ariv is when it's pitch black outside, according to the gemorah at least, right? It could be makdim, but it's a machlekes. L'chayri, he's talking about. Rav Yechon is talking. About Shachris and Mincha. They should both be when the sky is red.
My question still stands. What about Ma'ariv?
What about it?
If it's an eighth Ratzon, only for Shachris and Mincha.
No, so the Ma'ariv is not Dudu Mechama. That's Rishus, like we saw maybe. But some Rishonim even say this is not talking about Shachris. This is only talking about Mincha. Mincha you need to do Mechama. Shachris you don't need to do Mechama. So that's the third pshat. In other words, it's Eis Ratzon. You're trying to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to have Rachmanas on you. You have to daven Beis Ratzon. So if a person says, I'm always davening at 1 in the afternoon Mincha, it's not Eis Ratzon. That's called Kva. You're just trying to be Eitzah. You're not interested in the Ratzon. You're not interested in Rachman from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You just want to be Eitzah. So, take a look in the bottom Taisvis. Kol she'eini yachalei metachnunim. You can't throw in tachnunim. So Taisvis says, Pirush ben Chanal de'im yachalei metachloshim tachnunim. If you can say tachnunim, afil al kamosei av tefillah. Even if you're doing it quickly, even if you're zipping through it, be able to do beloshim tachnunim, then you're yaitza. Have a tefillah. Have a tefillah ma'alya. So according to the Chachamim, you need tachnunim. You don't need. There's no problem of masoi. There's no problem of running through it. As long as you do b'loshen tachnunim, that's what's kaveya. The nigun, the way you say it has to be b'loshen tachnunim, like you're only at the doifik on the door, there's banging on the door. It doesn't matter how fast you go. Some say that he's not chaylik. Some Rishonim learn, not like this Reb Chaim. He's not chaylik, he's adding. It's got to be also tachnunim, and also at a pace that's matim for tefillah. You got to go slow. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up here. It's the end of the sugya. I don't want to start the new sugya, and it's all very cold over here, so have a wonderful day.